sameness or consistency is everyone should be treated the same. What if they have both of those strengths? How does that work for them? You can't know unless you ask. And they may not even be aware of how it works for them until they answer. And that's how coaching works. Coaching works by identifying a question, a genuine question that you don't know the answer to. And when a person finds the answer and verbalizes it, it becomes like this realization of what they're capable of and kind of how their talents can work even better and how they can put that idea then in their toolbox to use it later. So before I ever did StrengthsFinder stuff, I did spiritual gifts classes. In those classes, we talked about, like, if God made you who you're supposed to be before you were born, and Ephesians 2:10 says, you are God's work of art, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which he prepared in advance for you to do. Then the idea there is that he made you, he prepared good things for you to be doing in your life, and he made you who you need to be to do them. So he is so wise that he made all of that work together. If you have questions about that, I'm happy to talk to any of you more about that anytime. But that's kind of the broad overview of like kind of how I see all of it working. And that's not strengths-based. That's just like kind of my worldview that comes to bear on how I think about strengths and talents and things like that. So that I think, and this comes from Bruce Bugby, he has this course called Network. So what you're to do with your life is what you're spiritually gifted to do. Spiritual gifts answer the what question. Where you're supposed to serve is where you're passionate about serving. You know, and some people don't know where they're passionate about serving yet. So I'll come back to that in a minute. And how you're supposed to serve is according to your personal style or your personality. Like we talked about being an extrovert or an introvert and things like that. And so passion is something where, how many of you know right now something that you would stay up way past when you're tired talking about because it just energizes you? Yeah? Anybody want to name something that they would stay up too late talking about?
Nobody's shy.
You don't have to. Yes? What would you?
Music and philosophy.
Yes. So Dr. Lynn would stay up late talking about music and philosophy. He loves music and philosophy. He loves almost every type of music, if you didn't know that about him. Even types I don't love. And he loves philosophy, but I also love philosophy, as you can probably tell. And so that I can stay up late with him talking about. And theology. We have that in common too. Anybody else? Something you stay up late talking about?
I don't stay up late.
You're like, no.
That's how different
There's
we are.
nothing you're that passionate
I
about.
get up early in the morning.
That's right.
I get up early in the morning to talk about it.
Okay, well, what?
I like philosophy too,
Nice.
and I like debating politics
Mm-hmm.
in a friendly way. So
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. So your passion is usually your where you're supposed to serve in life. So Dr. Lynn is obviously not working in the area of music and philosophy, although he does play music and sometimes talks philosophically to people. But maybe it's something he could do in his free time, right? But other people, well, like a teenager. Like, we have several teenagers here. Maybe they haven't discovered their philosophy yet, their passion yet, because they haven't been to the place that really lights them up. Sometimes your passion is the thing that makes you angry. Sometimes it's your first visit to the homeless shelter, and you're like, this is what I've got to do something about in my life. You know? Or maybe it's an international experience. Or maybe it's to meet a need, to right a wrong, to fulfill your purpose in some area. Like maybe you have a brilliant computer brain, and you're gonna serve some company in a way that meets their needs that it would be a complete mess without you. That can be a passion. Like, I love computers. That's not me. But it could be someone's passion. You know, it could be any kinds of thing. There's Bill Hybels out of Willow Creek wrote a book called Holy Discontent. There is this like unrest in your spirit until you go and get something done that And so when we're younger, and maybe even sometimes when we're a little older, we haven't run across that thing that really lights us up. The thing that motivates us to action. So if you know right now something that motivates you to action, something that really fires you up, something you're passionate about, you can just write it right there under the where column. And then your personal style. So there's lots of personal style assessments out there, right? There's the Myers-Briggs type indicator. That's like, I'm an ENTP. My husband's an INFJ. Have you heard like those letters thrown around? Yes, that's the Myers-Briggs. There is the DISC. That is actually more of a like a behavioral style. There's the colors. There's the one where you could be an animal, the golden retriever, or the beaver, or the otter or the lion.
All right, yeah.
That's right. I'm an otter.
Okay.
Just in case you wanted to know. And then, and there's other ones too. I think we've all taken some of these assessments, and maybe in workplaces or in counseling offices at schools, where you're trying to figure out kind of what is my personality and how am I different, how am I unique compared to all of the people in the world. And except Ezra, I don't think you've taken one of those yet. But
Want to?
yeah, well, let's get after that. And then your passion, we already covered that. And then what? Your spiritual gift. And I'd like to add under spiritual gift, there's other things that are whats besides what Bruce Bugbee says in Network. I'd like to add learned skills in that column. So I don't know if any of you know this, but I don't have the spiritual gift of administration. And yet somehow, for 17 years, I have run this chiropractic office. Administration is not my joy. It's not my gift. I'm not sure I do it very well. Somehow it continues. And so it's just a learned skill. Also teaching. I have a degree in education, but teaching isn't necessarily my gift. I just learned some stuff about teaching, and now I can do it. Right? So there are learned skills that can be part of what you are doing. Also, natural talents I want to put in this column. So natural talents, everybody has a natural talent, right? Some people are singers. Some people, you just know, like, this kid is good at math. This kid is good at poetry. People just have natural talents, right? And so I think all of those go in the what do I do column, right? Now look at these columns. Where do strengths go? How many of you have taken StrengthsFinder? 3 of you? Okay. So let me tell you a little bit more about it. So StrengthsFinder is an assessment where you can get your top 5 or your full 34. And your top 5 is maybe about half of your signature set. Your signature set are those talents that are really well developed in your neurology. And then the bottom ones are the ones you don't really have the neural network for, but you've probably compensated for them by something up in the middle or the top. And the ones in between, the ones in the middle are what we call your auxiliary strengths. Those are things that you can do, but they're not energizing to you. So I know somebody who has woo, and they can pull up and work a party, but then they're exhausted at the end. They can win others over for a couple hours, but then they need to go home and take a nap, because that was not one of their signature strengths. It was just an auxiliary strength that they could pull up and use. Those top strengths are considered talents, your natural talents. And so I put them in this category. But sometimes they affect your personal style as well. So I have woo in my signature set. And so winning others over is something I enjoy. But I don't do it just for the sake of it. There's got to be some meaningful thing to win them over to. Because connectedness is my number 1. Connectedness means that I see the big picture, and then I zoom in and I see the detail and how it fits in the big picture, and then I zoom back out again. It's a little bit like playing Tetris with all the pieces, or like what she's doing with the puzzle over there. And so all of these different things about yourself, your personal style and your passions and your talents and your gifts and your learned skills, they're all like pieces of that puzzle, right? How many of you would start a puzzle if you knew all the pieces weren't there? You would? Why would you do that?
I've done it.
Yes?
It doesn't need to be complete for me to see it.
So you enjoy doing the puzzle even if you know there's going to be a hole in the end? Like some piece of picture missing. You too?
I can just not see it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry.
No, I think it's wonderful. I usually in a group, there's someone that's like, no, that's so mean. And usually it's the person doing the puzzle who now wonders if I've taken pieces out. Who wonders, has she taken pieces out of this puzzle? Am I going to be able to finish it? Now you're going to have to hurry up and see. Right? And so what I would say is God is painting a beautiful picture of each of your lives. And you just don't have all the pieces. And we actually aren't going to probably have all the pieces till the end. And so don't not put them together. Start on the puzzle anyway. And whether you're gathering all the colors together or you're building around the edges, you want to start putting the pieces of the puzzle together anyway.
There's some puzzles that have extra pieces. There's some puzzles that have
Okay, have you done Liberty puzzles with the wood pieces?
I've only done one.
Okay. All right. You need to. Where's that? Boulder? In Boulder, Colorado, they have this puzzle shop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they cut them there with a jigsaw, and it's amazing.
Cars has one in the car.
Cars has one in the car. Okay, so sometimes you can feel like, well, my natural talents pull me this direction, and I feel like I need to, this is what I need to do, but my passions are over here, and my personality pulls me this direction. And I'm just going to tell you, you weren't created to be like drawn and quartered, right? All of those things can work together in the same place somehow. And so, like I was talking about, God created your inmost being before you were born. He made you with just the right personality and passion and gifts and talent for all of that to work together in some place. You know, whether it's a job or whether it's a hobby or a ministry that you do, that all of the things about you can be pulled together into one place. So whether you're searching for a career or whether you're finishing a career, there's still something left for you to do if you're on this planet. And so what you want is you want to figure out where all of these things can work together and where all those things can work together in one place. I'm going to say that's a calling. Any questions so far? So let's say you're in high school. And you're like, well, I don't know what I'm passionate about. My guidance counselor gave me this personality test, and meh. Maybe that's true. I'm not sure I even know myself that well yet. But in these things, what I'm talented at, I don't know, like, I even have enough life experience for that. So think about it like this. You're gathering puzzle pieces, right? So that personality test they gave you, that's one piece of the puzzle. You're going to put that, maybe it's an edge. You're going to put that in this framework right here. That personality test is going to go into the how column. How am I to serve? Every time you take one, put it under that category and add to it and get to know yourself better. And then where you're supposed to serve. Go out and get a bunch of experiences. Serve in the homeless shelter once you're 16. Go on, trips internationally, or mission trips if you want to, or play sports, or an instrument, or to get a broad variety. How are you going to know if you don't get a bunch of experiences to help you discover it? As you develop neurologically, the things that are stimulated will continue to blossom, and the things that aren't will be pruned away. So think about who you want to become and what you want out of life. And then what? What am I to do? You're going to learn more about spiritual gifts. Seek out new skills. Try natural talents. But here's the thing that I want you to be cautious of. Because personality tests are preference, right? I prefer to spend time and be energized by people. Can I be energized by being alone? Yes. I need that too. I'm actually kind of an ambivert. But we all can do people and tasks. We all can be structured and unstructured. It's not a matter of labeling you. It's a matter of what your preference is. Where are things easy and energizing for you in life? Your strengths should be the things that energize you. Some people are very energized by achieving things. They make a list every day. People who have achiever usually make a list every day, and they have to have something checked off. I did some work with a community that actually, seriously, a day of rest every week. They take a day of rest. And I asked them, the people with achiever, what do you do? Because they feel like it's not a good day if they haven't achieved something. They're like, well, we put rest on the list and check it off. I'm like, oh, of course you do, right? And so there's a way for people who have any strength to function with ease and to function with being energized by the strengths that they have. And so it's really important. People don't have very good self-awareness in our culture. We don't really know ourselves very well most of the time. And when you were born into the world a stranger to yourself. You were also born a stranger to your parents. You should have heard the conversations they had about you. You know, oh, I wonder if it'll be a boy or a girl. I wonder if they'll. Now we know, right? But when most of you were born, they wondered if you would be a boy or a girl. What color eyes will they have, and how big will they be, and what color hair, and what will he or she be when they grow up? And they didn't know. Will they be fussy, or will they be an angel baby? What kind of baby will they be, and what are they gonna? And you know what? As you grew up, your parents got to know you better. And they got to know, we have a redhead. Oh, we have a blonde-haired, blue-eyed person. We have a brunette. And they got to know that, but they also got to know your personality. They got to know that you hated broccoli, or that you loved peas, or that you wanted to move constantly, or that you wanted to be left alone a lot. They got to know you. And they got to know you before you got to know yourself. About 9 months, you started having stranger anxiety, where you realized you were separate from other people, and new people freaked you out, and you would cry. That's just basic child development, right? And then you started getting to know yourself. You started knowing what toys you liked, and what activities you liked, and as you grew up, you get to know more and more of those things. But we all start out strangers. And it's just part of development. So another thing that I want to tell you is that the goal of serving others with all of who you are is not dependence or independence. It's actually this developmental process that happens. So we all start out dependent, right? Somebody changed your diaper. Somebody made sure your head didn't flop all around when you were an infant. Somebody made sure that you learned to crawl and that you walked and that you had baths. Somebody fed you until you could feed yourself. We all started out dependent. Then we all moved to this place where we were independent. Now, independence in our culture is equated with strength, age, maturity, adulthood. We're independent. We're not claimed on anyone's tax form anymore. We can do things for ourselves. We can wipe our own bottoms and feed our own selves and pick out our own clothes and brush our own hair. And we can pay our own bills. We can work. We can drive. We can vote. We're independent. And that's equated with maturity. But I would like to say that independence is really a middle ground where people are just figuring out what they have to offer the world and what they need. And if people don't spend time figuring that out, they go to a dangerous place called codependence. So, because the ultimate goal is not independence, it's interdependence. If you've ever been in a really great interdependent relationship, you know that it's a place where you're safe to ask for what you need without being disrespected. That people still respect you as a person, even though you have needs, because everyone actually has needs, right? And where as you need something from another person, you actually have something to give to them that they need. And that is actually how we were designed to function in community. No one can do everything, nor should they. So the goal is not independence, even though that's what our Midwestern morality suggests. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps and get it done. The goal is actually interdependence. And if you try to skip this adolescent time period, which they say, the American Psychological Association says adolescence lasts till you're 26 now. Woo! Till that little place in your brain stops, maturing, then you can make good decisions. That's what they say. Watch out, people. So independence is where you're trying to figure out what you have to offer and what you need so that you can be interdependent. But if you skip this stage of figuring it out, you will go down to the not good place of codependence. And we heard, does everybody knows what codependence is? Codependence is where you have an addiction to being needed. Like you need to be needed. And so they don't know. Usually people who are codependent aren't sure what they have to offer or what they need, but they need to be needed. And one description, a social worker once said that codependence is where when you're dying, someone else's life flashes before your eyes. Because you're so enmeshed in that relationship. So you want to be careful not to go here, but to really grow in self-awareness and understand what you have to offer the world. So these are just the schema that I would offer you, that all of the pieces of the puzzle of your life and your talents and your calling can fit into. And it includes network, includes StrengthsFinder, includes personality inventories. All of those are important puzzle pieces as you're trying to fill out this picture of the good things God planned in advance for you to do. One last thing. Any questions yet? Nope. Okay, last thing. So my coach, Joe Kavanaugh, wrote a book. He runs Equip to Equip out of Omaha, and he was the one supposed to be speaking tonight, and you got me instead. But I wanted to tell you about his book in case you want to go on Amazon and get it. It's called The Language of Blessing, and he actually covers some really great things. My favorite chapter is chapter 5, where he talks about how much people think they're normal. And as soon as you think the talents you have are normal, then you expect everyone to be able to do what you do. And they can't. Because they're not uniquely gifted and talented like you. And then you start having unfounded expectations for them, just like your parents and teachers had about you. And we can't live up to those things. So it's very important to celebrate the talents that we have so that we can also celebrate how other people are differently talented. Otherwise, we just get in these yucky relationships where we expect things from people that they can't ever fulfill for us. Anyway, he says it so much better than me. And I think you would enjoy his book where he really covers how to grow in your self-awareness so that you can live with a sense of non-anxious presence. All right, that's what I've got.
Give away one copy, thank you.
We're giving away a copy of this book
Autograph.
tonight.
Is it Joe? What's the first name?
Joseph Kavanaugh.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
The
I didn't
third?
have people
Is that the
didn't-
third?
Yes, the third, Joseph Kavanaugh the third. Equip to Equip out of Omaha. He ran Gallup Faith for a while. And so he trained hundreds of strengths coaches around the world. He opened up South Africa to StrengthsFinder. So he's legit. All right, are you going to give people tickets? I'm
Wow,
done.
okay, great.
I will take questions,
So-
and you can give out tickets that people can
Yes,
put their
let
names
people
on.
ask questions first of all.
Does anyone want to know more about StrengthsFinder or anything? Spiritual gifts? Coaching? What's coaching like?
It's interesting when you said you would stay up late. What's your passion? It's like, I don't know that I really have one. I think I did when I was younger, and then life happened. So,
The jigsaw puzzles would be.
well, I do like puzzles, but I will stay up late putting together a puzzle.
But what would you
But
talk
it's
about?
very interesting though, if that's like kinda like the big light bulb for me tonight is kinda, yeah, what what really does energize me? Besides gardening, and I can't really serve people doing that too.
Why not?
Oh, don't be surprised.
Not right now.
Right. Oh, you mean you don't
I
have
think-
time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. I think that's a big part of it is that you don't have time to entertain your passions sometimes. And so then they just get put on hold.
Yeah,
But-
there are seasons.
Look
Yeah.
at the transition you're getting now.
Yeah.
I mean, your kids are getting to the point where they're getting
They
more
are.
self-sufficient,
I
they're
was thinking
graduating
about that on
from
the
their
way
programs,
in.
And you get more time to even consider this stuff and do it
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
How cool is that, right?
Yeah.
It's really
So
good.
I lead a retreat called the Quest for Calling Retreat for a certain organization, and then I'm reading this summer I'll be leading a retreat. It's the same retreat. It's going to be called the Calling Retreat.
How do people find out about
And
those, or are they
so-
for specific organizations?
The one I'm doing this summer is for my church, but it might be open up to people. So let me ask about that.
Okay.
Because I mean, like pretty much anyone can come to my church, so I would think anyone can come.
Probably unless it gets full or something.
Yeah.
but-
Is that right? Are you listening, Pastor Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Let me ask about that because it'll be, usually I lead it for a specific organization, so it's limited to their people. But,
Sure, yeah.
yeah.
So guys, I'm gonna pass this around, so while we're asking questions, please just tear off a ticket. You can keep one for yourself and put your name on that one, and put them in there. No, not you guys. Yeah. Family members are excluded, no fixes are on tonight. Okay? And then we'll draw a, you have one, okay, good, that's great. So, we'll start with Mackey's here.
I'll do
I missed the
better.
pool.
So, keep it, we'll draw.
The odds are good.
But I'm gonna put in a plug for this book and for the StrengthsFinder ourselves, guys, just to give you just a few minutes until you're all done here. This book is phenomenal. Joe tells his story. If I break this down into kind of like three portions, the first, well, I guess in 20 years, is he grew up in a household where the unique contribution that he had to make to life and his strengths were not appreciated, especially by a certain parent that he had. And it was one of those things where it was just like, he was treated as like, either it was not relevant or almost like it was a bad thing. And so imagine going into your period where you're trying to become independent, you've been told that everything that's about you, or at least many things about you, are kind of odd or weird or not helpful. And so he spent the next 20 years kind of getting that worked through, if you will. Like, he's an amazingly successful guy in home and car stereo and things like that too. But he was so impressed when he got to the end of that journey and realized that how powerful that was if I had just known this stuff. So he's literally spent the last 20 to 25 years of his life actually coaching people and stuff. I mean, hundreds of thousands of people he's impacted through his teaching, one-on-one counseling, also writing this book. So it's a great book. I really hope it would be meaningful to whoever wins it tonight. But if you don't win it tonight, please get a copy. Very reasonably priced. It's very, very good. On the StrengthsFinder as a whole, my experience with it, guys, I can only share my experience with it, how meaningful it's been to me is that I have done different inventories, but this is one I had never known it. So there's 34 that we all have. And then there's some different orders. It's pretty cool. So it means I actually have something in common with Patty. It's just somewhere in a different order. But they're so different that, did you tell me about the uniqueness of that stuff? That leads to find somebody else who actually has your same 34 in the exact same order, like finding one star in the entire universe. That's the probability of that. It's crazy, right? So when I took this test the first time, I did it as I was
It's
becoming.
an assessment.
This assessment. Whatever. I'll
It's
call-
an assessment test.
Right. I'll call weaknesses too, and they're supposed to be like my non-patterns. They are my liability. So I took this test.
They're not
and
weaknesses
do you guys remember
necessarily.
in the movie Vacation when the Griswolds look at the Grand Canyon, they go kind of like this and kind of go. And they're back in the car. That's actually the view I got of my strength. The guy said, "These cards sound like you." I said, "Yes, kind of." And that assessment went to for 3.5 years. And in the meantime, I am having struggles like being a good leader at work, at home, there too. And I came back to this material when Joe was teaching one time, and I was like, "Oh, like when you realize what you've had all this time and you just had no idea." So, for example, just a very quick example in our team meetings for our work. Does anyone here have learners? Your number one? Is yours that your number one?
I've never taken that.
Okay,
Yeah.
some here I talk to actually have learners, they're number one. And what's crazy about having learners as a strength is you just love to learn stuff. It's like a voracious appetite. Like if I go a day without learning something new, it's crazy. So for me, when I would train, we would have an hour and I think there's surely no problem to cover these 17 points of what to do in the day one. And my team would just be like braced for, okay, here we go. It's gonna go to fifth gear and like this. And it's like, and we may remember one. And I would go through that stuff and I would just burn out people. I would just burn out like, okay, what was point 15? That sort of thing. So I had coaches tell me, and it was the thing where I realized my strength is that some people just do not have that. They don't like to learn as much as you. They don't learn as fast as you. They don't retain as much. So whatever you do, cover one thing per hour at most, maybe two, and it's changed things forever. Also,
yeah, he
when,
feels like he has reins on it.
yep. And another one, should I cover the noun patterns at all?
Sure.
Okay, so
I'm
just
sure
so you
Emily
know,
would find it interesting.
yeah, right. So my bottom two are actually, believe it or not, are woo and harmony. Now, when I looked at those, I was really frustrated about that because I was like, wait a minute, I don't like to go cause problems. I really don't. I like to actually have, anytime there's disharmony in a relationship, it kind of bothers me. But I realized that on some things, when it comes to a principle, if a person is really violating what I think is something that is very true, I will sacrifice many times that relationship for a while to do what I think is right, so to speak. Now that can be good and bad, and especially if it's in an unredeemed state, it can be very, very ugly. Like Patty, you talk about debating politics to be, have in a friendly way. There's sometimes I'm just like, we're not gonna lose this one. I'm not losing this one. We're united. I'm in there for the long haul, and it's like, we're gonna grind you down. You're gonna go to bed or something, whatever. So that's how it looks in an ugly state. But what it does mean is actually I've been able to find people on my team where that is a much higher strength for them in their lives. And I'm saying, hey, you know what? At this potential flash point right now, what I need you to do is go and make this phone call, make this thing, and just find out what's going on. Because if I can find out what's going on, my learner can think in. All of a sudden, I'm coming with ideas for solutions as opposed to this emotionally charged situation that I think has to be somehow dealt with in such crazy ways, whatever like that. It just de-escalates everything. It's a really good thing for you to learn that.
So that's called complementary teaming.
Right. So
When you
God
find
has
someone
brought-
who has what you need,
Yep.
and you team up to
Yep.
accomplish that.
So the independent model like is kind of like find your own bootstraps. The independent Ben says, I can't reach my own bootstraps back here because I have short arms for that right now. Could you get that for me kind of thing? That's what it really does help you with. God's blessed me with people on my team who actually have those gifts. That's been wonderful. So for that being said, guys, I hope you get a chance to take that test. Again, I think it's $20 for the top 5.
Well,
80
actually, I just logged on. There's a sale right now on the full 34 for $49.99 or something
Ooh,
like that.
do it.
What's the
That's half
website?
price.
GallupStrengthsFinder.com.
Yeah.
GallupStrengthsCenter.com. Strengths is plural. GallupStrengthsCenter.com. And that's amazing because it's usually like $90.
Yeah.
So
You'll
it's
be
like
blocked
$40
out.
off right now.
You need to block out 40 minutes of your life to do
Is
that.
there anyone that does that for career counseling?
Oh yeah, tons of people. But like if you become self-aware, then you will discover for yourself what you want to do. Like when you realize what you're good at or what you desire, it will give you like at least it'll rule some things out.
Yeah. There are certified coaches like Brenda who actually tell people who have taken the test, have the results, but don't know what to do with it. She helps people do that
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm just thinking, like my son needs a direction, and
Yeah.
he has no.
So, Patty, it's a 40-minute forced dilemma test. It's online. The questions pop up. You either say strongly agree, strongly disagree, somewhat agree, somewhat disagree, or neutral. And if you don't answer within 20 seconds, they assume you're neutral, kicks you to the next one.
Ah.
Boom, there you go.
There you go.
It's pretty cool. It's
Forced
good.
pairs.
But
Don't
please,
wait. or
please
you
have
lose.
your follow-up plan in place for that, whether it be with Brenda or somebody else, because you don't do what I did. You have the most powerful tools, one of the most powerful tools I think about yourself in your hand. You're going to stick it somewhere on a shelf. Let it collect dust. Don't do that. It's just frustrating beyond belief.
All right.
So, all right. So,
Who's gonna win?
Ezra, I will let you draw a little bit. Cover your eyes. Cover your eyes.
Like he knows everything.
All right.
Who's the
Our
winner?
winner is, it's blank.
It's probably
So
mine.
what's
your
Okay.
Mine.
546 504.
Yeah.
Lenny. Oh my
All
goodness.
right. Congratulations.
So enjoy that, Lenny. Read that this summer, okay? And tell me what you learned. Okay?
Homework.
That's right.
Great.
5 double-spaced pages. No, I'm just kidding.
This is what I
But
learned.
the rest of you guys, I seriously hope you guys get the book and I can learn from that. And please, if you haven't taken the test, consider doing that for yourselves and having somebody, your brother or somebody else, just coach you through it, because to know what that means for you, it'll be a blessing, a bigger blessing to your family, your peers, coworkers, family members, friends, the whole thing. Good stuff. Okay? Any more questions?